going on Facebook. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what time it is. We're waiting for this live to get started over on Instagram. I started the Instagram one first, so it should have popped off before the Facebook one popped, but it didn't. So now we're starting it again. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday, second day of June 2020. Let's see if we get Instagram going the way it's supposed to right now. Which y'all know what we're going to do here on Facebook. I do this every day. I'm going live every day, damn near all year. Let's see. We have Instagram, we should put the title in now. All right, that's a new thing. That's good. All right, so now we got a title. Now let's see if we can get this thing activated properly. All right, still not working. Facebook, hope everybody's having a great day. Ben, what's going on? For whatever reason, Instagram's app is acting up a little bit right here. So y'all bear with me for a minute. We just getting this stuff working the way that it's supposed to. They're giving me a chance to put a title in, which they didn't do before, even though Facebook owns Instagram. So they did that. They got that part right. Now, let's see if we can get the thing to actually connect. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday again. Like I said, we're doing this live as I do every single day. I'm always giving you a new topic, something for you to marinate on, something for you to think about, something that's going to maybe challenge your thinking, challenge some of your assumptions, challenge some of your opinions, challenge some of your preconceived notions and previously held beliefs. But I'm still not connected on Instagram for whatever reason. This app is not connected, so we're going to have to try this again. Let's see if my internet is connected. I know it is. I'm on Facebook, so it got to be connected. So bear with me another moment. Let's see if we get this going. Live. Let's put our title in. All right, that's done. Start the live stream. Checking connection. I'm connected on this phone here. I'm connected on this iPad. I'm connected on my laptop. Now we're just waiting for this phone to connect so then we can get into what we need to get into, because we got a lot of stuff that we need to talk about here today. We ain't got a lot of time to waste, and Instagram's acting kind of silly right now. So we need them to catch up, get on the same page with everybody else. Still checking connections, so we waiting. But everybody on Facebook, listen. For those of y'all who don't know, my name is Dre Baldwin. You on my page, so you probably already know that. If you're watching this live right now, hit that share button so anybody who's on your timeline, they can come in and check this and see what's good. All right, we finally got it live on Instagram. At least it claims that we are live right now. So I'm gonna pin my comment on IG anyway, even though they told me I could put a title in. So we go ahead and pin that comment, and let's see if anybody starts coming in on IG to make sure they ain't lying to me, telling me that we live. But as y'all are watching right now, Facebook and Instagram, you can leave a comment and let me know that you're here. If you're on Facebook, I can see your name, so you can let me know that you're in the house. You can hit that share button so people can see it. If you are on Instagram, you can leave a comment. I think that's the only thing you can do on Instagram is leave a comment. You can hit the likes. However you make the likes happen on Instagram, I think it's just tapping the screen. You can tap the screen, let those lights pop off. But on IG, you can leave a comment. And we're going to get started in a moment. We ain't got a lot of time to waste. Y'all know the last couple of days we've been talking about these things that's been going on. And I got another topic that I want to talk about related to what's been going on out here. And I think it's needed. I think it's important. And I'm going to wait till we get into it. I'm going to give everybody a few seconds to come in. Whoever's going to be in is going to be in so we can get started. Obviously, this will be available on replay, but you want to catch it now because then I'm going to answer all questions. And you can get it now. I mean, now is better than later. And as we like to say, to be early is on time. To be on time is to be late. To be late is to be forgotten. So you don't want to have to catch this late and be wondering what happened. Now, for those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional athlete, author of 26 books. I've done 4 TED Talks. I'm a coach, consultant, keynote speaker, product creator, as I already said, athlete, mentor to a whole lot of people, coach to a whole lot of people, product creator, salesperson, CEO and owner of Work on Your Game Incorporated. And what we are talking about here today, actually, before I even get into that, I created, as I said, a bunch of pieces of content, over 15,000, 7,000 videos on YouTube. You want to look them up. I've written over 7,000 articles if you like to read. And I got a daily audio masterclass. Some of y'all call it a podcast. It's called Work on Your Game. Comes out on every platform every single day since 2016. So if you like to listen to stuff, I got you covered there. And when there's some other way to put content out, like virtual reality, I'm going to have a bunch of material there too. But for now, every platform that's available, I'm on it. So you can just go look me up and whatever platform you prefer. If you like products and services, I got those as well. We'll talk about that when time permits. But what this whole philosophy that I do, Work on Your Game, is all about. It's about taking the mindset of the professional athlete, but you need to be in the top 1% in sports, and taking that same mentality and teaching you how to apply it to your business, to your life, and to your sport if you happen to be an athlete. One of my books is called Work on Your Game. It is all about that pro athlete mindset I just talked about, but we'll talk about that at a later time. That's not the issue for right now. But today, y'all already know, over the last 2 days, this will be the third day for me that I've been talking about something that's related to the issue that's going on in America right now. Everybody knows about it. Mr. George Floyd was killed, lost his life in Minneapolis, Minnesota last Monday. So it's been 8 days since that happened. There's been a whole lot of uproar. There's been upheaval. There have been riots. There have been protests. There's been looting. There's been people saying stuff on social media, people writing articles. A lot of things have been going on around this situation. And I got something else that I want to say about this that I think is important for our people. And this is specifically for African Americans in the United States who are in whatever state that you're in. And I said what I need to say 2 days ago. That was Sunday night. I had a live where I was talking about the situation. Yesterday, I did another live where I was saying something else that I wanted to say. And today, I got something else I'm going to say on this topic. Y'all see the title. If you're on Facebook, you see the title up top. You're on IG. I don't know where they put the title of the live. They let you put the title in. I don't know where that's at. But I pinned the comment right down there. We are not victims. And I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by that, why I'm saying it. I'm going to give full context to it, and I'm going to tell anyone who wants to listen, anyone who is interested, how to take yourself out of this position of being a victim in life. Because it's not a position that I'm not comfortable being in a position of being a victim. I don't want to feel like I am a victim. I don't want anybody looking at me like I am a victim, and I don't want anyone to classify me as a victim just because of color of my skin and because of what some people who may have a larger platform and more followers and more attention than me is saying to make people think that we, people of this skin tone, think that we are victims based on what has happened to George Floyd or many other names that anybody wants to drop out here. So that's what we're going to get into today. If anyone does have a comment, question, or concern about anything that I said today, I will be glad to engage you on your opinion or on your perspective. I'll do it at the end. Once I get through my points, then I will address your points. You can go ahead and leave it in the comment section, and I will address it as long as you do so respectfully. Like, if nobody came in here if nobody disrespects you, you don't disrespect anybody else. That's the rule here, and if I kick you out, you ain't coming back. So now, with all that being said, as I already talked about, I've been talking the last couple of days of what's been going on, and this conversation here today, I want to be clear who this is targeted to. This is targeted towards anyone who feels like the system, quote unquote, the system, whatever that system is. If you feel like it's the United States of America, if you feel like it's the president, if you feel like it's the government, if you feel like it's a system of oppression or systemic racism or white supremacy, whatever you want to call it, if you feel some type of system is holding you back, slowing you down, getting in your way, targeting you, trying to stop you from being great, killing you, or putting you in danger, you feel like you're in some type of danger when you go outside of your house every day, or you feel like someone that you love is in danger when they go outside their house every day, and you believe the culprit is the system, that you cannot even identify it anymore by than saying there's some type of system, I'm going to address you directly here today. If you are not one of those people, you still need to listen to what I'm saying so that when you hear one of these people talking, and you will, you can direct them to this, and you can let them know they can come reach out to me if they have anything they want to say about it. So let's get right into the first point here. And any of you who follows me on Twitter, my Twitter is @DreAllDay. I did a stream of tweets. They call it a thread. I did a thread of tweets this morning where I was thinking out what I'm going to be talking about here today. I've had some more time to think about it, and I can glue it all together here today. But you can go read it on Twitter. My Twitter is @DreAllDay, and you can read some of the stuff that I tweeted earlier this morning. So let's get into our points. I think how many points I got here today? I think I got 4 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. These might be kind of long. So let's see. Point number 1 is this. And this is the most important point that I want everybody to get. I don't care what color, race you are. Power does not accrue to victims. Power does not accrue to victims. And I want to be clear. I'm going to make it very clear exactly what I mean, all these words that I'm using, because people can interpret these words in different ways. So let's get a definition of power, okay? Definition of power is the ability to do something or act in a particular way, especially as a faculty or quality. In other words, power is your ability to do what the fuck you want to do and be who the fuck you want to be and live how the fuck you want to live. That's what power means. I think everyone who is listening to this right now wants power on some level. And it doesn't have to be power like you want to be the president, or you want to own a company, or you want to have 50 people working for you. Having power can just mean you having the ability to do what you want to do for yourself in your own life, and live how you want to live, and say whatever the fuck you want to say, and express whatever's on your mind however you want to, and the power to not say anything if you don't want to say nothing. If you want to be quiet, you want the power to stay quiet. And if you want to ignore a situation because it doesn't concern you, then you can ignore that situation because it doesn't concern you, and then not have to face any type of retribution, or to be villainized, or to be demonized by another person simply because you decided to not partake in a situation, because you decided to mind your own damn business, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is all part of power. Power is not just your ability to spend a bunch of money and you call a shot and everything just happens. Power is also your ability to not do anything if you don't want to do anything. And understand, that's the definition of power that we're working with here today. So if anybody got a different definition, that's fine. But the one we're talking about here today is the one that I just gave you. Let me give you a definition of the word victim, because I said power does not accrue to victims. What is a victim? Victim is a person who is harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action. Now, we're going to take out the person who is killed because they aren't here to talk about themselves because they're not around. All right, and this is no disrespect to anybody who has lost anyone, or anybody who has lost their lives in any situation, anywhere in life, for whatever reason. I'm talking about the victims who are alive to be talking about things as if they are victims, painting us into corners as victims. And it really bothers me when people paint themselves in the corners as victims. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why. You're going to understand exactly why I'm saying this. And I guarantee it will make logical sense to you. Doesn't mean you're going to agree with it, but it will make logical sense to you. Why? Because that's my professional skill, is making sure my arguments make sense. The definition of a victim, again, a person who is harmed or injured, let's just say that, as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action. Let me be clear with everyone. If things in your life are a result of an event or an action which you believe you do not control, then you do not have power. That makes you a victim. By definition, you are a victim. In other words, let me say this in more plain English. If you look at your life right now, anything in your life, whether it's just a fear that you have, or some type of neuroses, or something specifically that's happened, you didn't make a team, you got fired from a job, some customer tried to steal from you, or whatever happened, if you feel like your circumstance in life right now today is a result of something that you do not control, that you cannot control, that you can't do anything about it, and that you feel like whatever's going to happen in your future is something that's under the control of someone or something other than yourself, you are a victim. That is the definition of a victim. You don't control your circumstances. You don't control your life. Whatever has happened or will happen to you is the result of someone or something else that you can't do anything about. That is the very definition of a victim. And if you want to be a victim, I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm not going to suggest that you change. I'm just going to present the information to you. You can do whatever the hell you want to do with it. But I am going to tell you this truth, that people who are victims do not come into power in life. And since I'm assuming, and if I'm wrong in this assumption, any one of you can let me know, I'm assuming that everyone listening to me right now wants to have some power over their lives. Everybody wants to have some form of power in some way. Again, even if it's just over yourself. You just want to have power to do what you want to do. You want to go to the grocery store, you go. You want to hang out at the beach, hang out at the beach. You want to watch Netflix, watch Netflix. You want to run a business, run a business. You want to post on Facebook, post on Facebook. You want the power to do what you want to do in your life. If you are a victim, you cannot be empowered. And if you are in power, you cannot be a victim. In other words, you got to pick a side. Do you want to be a victim, or do you want to have power? All right, you cannot do both of these at the same time. There are some instances in life where you can have both. This is an instance where you cannot. You either have power or you are a victim. All right, now that we've established that baseline, let's move on to point number 2. And this is where we get into the crux of why I'm talking about this today. Because what I just said, I could talk about that any day. But why am I talking about it today, right now, and whatever is going on? Point number 2, topic here today, for those who came in the middle of this, is we are not victims. And this could be anybody. Point number 2, our leaders. And when I say our leaders, I'm talking about black folks, people of color, all right, people in the African American community. So if you're black, I'm talking about our leaders. There are prominent people who seem to have the biggest voices, whether they earned it or not. And those of you who are not black, I want you to pay attention so that when you hear these individuals talking that I'm about to refer to, you understand where I stand when it comes to those people. I'm not speaking for anyone else. I'm only speaking for me. And if you agree, that's cool. If you don't, that's also cool. But I want to make sure I said it. Our leaders are not leaders for one specific reason. I'm going to enumerate why they're not leaders. Knowing what I know about making it happen in life, about dealing with whatever circumstances you've been handed and making the success out of those circumstances, taking as proverbially the lemons and making lemonade. Knowing what I know about that. Shit, I wrote a whole fucking book about it. I just showed you it right here. Knowing what I know about taking any circumstance, even a fucked up situation that is not working in your favor. In other words, what I call a road game in life. Being in that situation and making a success out of it. Knowing what I know to be true and that I talk to y'all about every fucking day, whether it be this live, whether it be something that I wrote, something I say on a mic, something I write in a book, and those of you who get my emails, literally every fucking day. Knowing what I know about that. All right, here's the thing. You cannot get to that position of success by claiming victimhood to things that happen around you or things that happen to you. It's impossible to create success from random circumstances that you don't control when you are looking at yourself as a victim. When you see a victim when you look in the mirror, there's no way that you can create success. Now, does shit happen in our lives? Yes. Shit has happened in my life. Shit will happen. Shit has happened in your life. Shit will happen. Maybe some of y'all are going through some shit right now today. Shit happens in everybody's lives. Okay, so that nobody is immune to that. The thing is this: as long as you're allowed to talk about the shit that happens, you always have the power. Notice that word. You always have the power to gather yourself and see what you can do about the shit that has happened in your life. As long as you're alive, you can do something about the situation. Now, if you're not alive, you can't do nothing about it. But if you're alive, you can do something about it. It's all about how you respond to a situation, not how you react to a situation. Over the last 3 or 4 days across America, we've seen a whole lot of reacting, right? And some of it, certain people who are close enough to the person who lost his life, George Floyd, I understand their reactions. But everybody else, all right, you don't know that man. You wasn't in that town. You didn't see it. I understand you're black. I understand you got some feelings. Reacting is not what the powerful do. Powerful respond. All right, the emotional react. Reaction is an emotion. Strategy is responding. The difference between a reaction and a response is the thought that goes in between the stimulus and the action that comes after. All right, that's what a response is. It means you put some thought into it. You thought about it at least on some level strategically. Then you did something. A reaction is something happens, you immediately do something else. That is instinctive. And it goes off emotions often. When people are reacting, it's because they feel some emotion that triggers an instinct, and then they go do something, and often they end up regretting that action. Maybe the next day, maybe 10 years later, but the action usually does not produce a tangible, fruitful result that they're happy to have produced. Right now, people are happy with some of the things that they are causing, but is it really strategically helping themselves or their communities or their people in the long run? I would say no. What we've been seeing, is it helping us in the long run? No. Is it drawing attention right now? Hell yeah. Is it making everybody talk about it? Hell yeah. Does it make some people feel good because the adrenaline rush right now and all the attention being focused on the black community? Yes. But in the long run, is this a good strategy? Is this going to help us in the long run? The answer is hell no. Now, I'm not even done my point. Our pseudo leaders in our community these days, I know most of you have heard of these people, the Charlemagne the God and the Breakfast Club. Everybody heard of Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club. Charlemagne does not speak for black people. The Breakfast Club does not speak for black people. I like the Breakfast Club. I like watching, I don't watch all their interviews, but when there's somebody on there that I want to hear, I will listen to their interviews. I think it's entertaining. It is sometimes informative, but for the most part, it's an entertainment show. When I want to be entertained, I turn on the Breakfast Club because I know something is going to happen that's going to make me laugh. Charlemagne is a funny guy. I think he's an articulate guy, and I think he's a relatively smart individual. I think he's a good guy with good intentions, but I also think he is limited in terms of his intellectual depth. And also, I think because he is playing the position that he's in, because of the role that he has to speak a certain way to a certain audience. He's not speaking to the audience that I speak to. He's speaking to a different audience who has different sensibilities, and therefore he has to play a certain position. I don't know if that's really who he is or if he's just playing a role. I'm starting to think it's more of the former. But anyway, the Charlemagnes, the Jamel Hills, who worked for ESPN, it's called Donald Trump a white supremacist, basically lost her job because of that. You could say it was something else. She lost her job because of that. Then she went to, where is she now? She's independent, doing stuff. She did some stuff with The Ringer. I think she got her own podcast. She's a writer. This, that. Jamel Hill's another one. LeBron James. I think he's the best basketball player alive until somebody establishes firmly that they're better. I think he's the best player alive. I think he exceeded expectations when he came into the NBA. I think LeBron James is out of his depth when he talks about social causes and social issues for some specific reasons. All three of these individuals I just named, Charlemagne, Jamel Hill, LeBron James, I'm putting them all in the same group on this particular point that I'm about to make. None of these individuals who are very successful would have reached the point that they have reached in their lives by looking at themselves as victims. It is impossible. I don't know that much of Jemele Hill's backstory, but I heard that she's been through some shit, just like everybody else has been through some shit, and she created a successful career. She was the most prominent black female on the most prominent sports network in the world, ESPN. She burned that bridge by calling Donald Trump a white supremacist. Why she decided to do that, I don't know, but she did it. It's her life. She can do what the fuck she want to do. But I know she went through some shit to get to where she was. The most prominent, black woman at the biggest sports network in the country. There's no way Jemele Hill could have ascended to that point by looking at herself as a victim. Hold that thought. LeBron James, he was a only child to a single mother. How old was his mom when she had him? 15, 16 years old. Teenage single parent in the hood where LeBron James comes from. Most of those kids don't make it, right? LeBron James made it. Now, was he supremely talented? Did he hit the genetic lottery? Yes and yes. But did he work hard? Did he believe in himself? Did the guy have his head on straight? Has he not only met but exceeded expectations as a basketball player? Absolutely he has. Is he one of the best 5 basketball players in history? Absolutely he has. Has he never gotten into any kind of domestic trouble off the court? Absolutely true. Only trouble LeBron James has been on is anything that he did on the court. Something he said on the court or that ESPN TV show. But it was all sports related. LeBron James has done excellently in his professional career. And I'm bringing that up to say this. There's no way LeBron could have came from where he came from as a child to a 16-year-old single mom in the hood, moving from house to house. There was a year, he said, where he barely went to school. He missed damn near the whole 3rd grade or whatever it was. And he became one of the best basketball players in the history of basketball. Again, part of it is his talent, but another part of it is his mental makeup. He had to have his head on straight to do that. There's no way he could have got there by looking at himself as a victim at any point in his journey. If he saw himself as a victim when he was 5 years old, forget it. We wouldn't know LeBron James. He saw himself as a victim when he was 8, 12, 15, 17, forget it. He would have saw himself as a victim, it would have been over. He would not have made it to where he is. Charlamagne the God. I don't know Charlamagne's backstory or Jemele's as much as I know LeBron James because I'm a basketball player. I watch basketball. Charlamagne came from, I don't know exactly his background, lower middle class, maybe a lower class background. I know he told the story how he tried to sell drugs and he went to jail a little bit and his parents wasn't going to bail him out. He finally got into the radio game, got fired from a couple radio jobs, got a lot of heat on him for some things that he said because he's been an outspoken guy and obviously that's his brand now. There's no way that Charlamagne would be Charlamagne if he ever looked at himself as a victim. Can everybody agree with that? There were many times when Charlamagne has been down. I remember he got fired. He used to be on Wendy Williams when Wendy was in Philly. I'm from Philly. I live in Miami. I'm from Philly. When Wendy had her show in Philly, Charlamagne was like her co-host on the show. I remember his voice. I didn't know what he looked like, but I remember his voice. And then he disappeared. Then he came back on the Breakfast Club, and now he's blown up. He's one of the biggest names in African-American culture right now. I think we will have to agree. All 3 of these people, Charlamagne, Jemele, LeBron, none of them would be the successes that they are in life had they ever looked at themselves as a victim. So here's the part that fucks me up. Why the fuck does Charlamagne, LeBron James, and Jemele Hill, when they speak about social issues, when they speak about the plight of the black person, the black man, and when I say man, I'm referring to humans, not male or female, why when they talk about these things, they are always framing us as victims? I don't understand it. I was thinking about this shit today. Why does LeBron James, all the circumstances that he came through to get to where he's at, he could have never looked at himself as a victim. But then when something happens, he's tweeting, man, they're always killing us. They're targeting us every day. Man, how are we ever going to live? I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? How are you a victim, dude? Why are you, and this is the problem. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. Jemele Hill. I don't follow her. I don't see her stuff as much as I see LeBron. I don't follow any of these people. But I see LeBron stuff because I'm in basketball, so sometimes basketball people retweet what LeBron said. I don't see anybody retweet with Jemele Hill. But when Jemele Hill has said things, because I've seen some stuff that she said, she's on this white supremacist stuff. This guy's a racist. The football player who got drafted by the Patriots, when he said he's going to remove the tattoo, she was, oh no, you're a white supremacist. Now you got outed. Now you're saying. She went on this whole racial bend. I don't know why. She was on ESPN doing her thing. She was hosting the 6 p.m. Sports Center, which was a prominent job. It was. She ended up burning that whole bridge because she wanted to play the race card on social media, and I guess that's what she wanted to do. It's her life. She can do what she wants to do. And I asked myself, Jemele Hill, to get to where you're at, you could have never looked at yourself as a victim, but then when you're talking to the people, all you're talking about is how we're victims. Charlamagne the God, he had Rush Limbaugh on the Breakfast Club today. I don't know if any of y'all heard. Y'all know who Rush Limbaugh is? If you don't, look it up. Go listen to the interview. It was just an audio. And it was about 25 minutes. You can listen to it really quick. And anyway, he's on there. Rush Limbaugh comes on there. He's a prominent conservative voice. He used to have a radio show. Now he's on the internet like everybody else. Rush Limbaugh comes on the Breakfast Club, and they're talking about what happened with George Floyd in Minneapolis. And Rush Limbaugh is like, look, I have a prominent voice with the conservatives, with the right, with white people, with the system. I got a prominent voice there, Charlamagne. And of course, Charlamagne's all outspoken. Yeah, white people are doing this, and black people need this, this, and this. And Rush Limbaugh straight up asked Charlamagne. He said, Charlamagne, what do you want us to do? What do you want me to do? I got a voice. I can get your message to a whole lot of people on the other side of this thing. What do you want me to do? Charlamagne says, we want you to tear down the system that is perpetuating white supremacy. What the fuck does that even mean? Now, yes, does it sound good? Yes. Are people going to applaud it? Yes. Are people going to like it and repeat it and retweet it and say, yeah, Charlamagne for the win? Sure. But what the fuck does that mean? Can anybody explain to me what that means when he says tear down the system, tear down the entire system that is perpetuating white supremacy? What does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. It sounds good and it looks good and it plays great on social media with a bunch of shallow, non-thinking individuals. But what does it actually mean? It doesn't mean anything. And Rush Limbaugh was like, Charlamagne, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The tear down the system that has perpetuated white supremacy. What does that even mean? And here's the thing that I want to say. It's not even about the white supremacy word. All right, let me explain to you why I brought up these three people, LeBron, Charlamagne, and Jamel. As I said, none of them could become successful if they saw themselves as victims, right? But when they say things like, well, this system, this systemic oppression is bringing black people down, or LeBron says something like they're always killing us and always targeting us, or Charlamagne says, well, it's white supremacy that's causing the problem, and that's the change that we need to help black people out, but they cannot enunciate. They cannot spell out exactly what needs to be done or anything. They're saying, man, we should feel bad for ourselves because they're targeting us, because this guy's a white supremacist, because of this system. It is victimhood. This is being a victim. This is being a victim. If you say the problem for black people in America is white supremacy, that is victimhood. Our problem. When you say something is a problem and you can't control what the problem is, you are a victim. Is anybody not understanding what I just said? If I say my problem is it's raining outside and I can't stop it from raining, I made myself a victim of the rain. If you say your problem is white supremacy and you can't control white supremacy, then you are a victim of white supremacy. And if you want to be a victim, you can be a victim. I'm not here to convince you to be anything other than what you want to be. But understand, you cannot get into a position of power in life if you're looking at yourself as a victim. And the problem that I'm having with what I'm hearing from the people who are positioned as leaders in our community, I'm using air quotes because they're not actual leaders. They may be leaders to some of y'all. They're not leaders to me. Is that these people who have this voice and they're being looked at to speak for us, they are saying these things that make the other side, that make white people and people who don't know nothing about our culture, who never heard of Charlamagne, they just heard him today because Rush Limbaugh was on. So Rush Limbaugh said, hey, everybody, go listen to me on the Breakfast Club. This is the first time they ever heard Charlamagne. And he's like, hey, Charlamagne's one of the leaders in the black community. And then they hear one of our leaders say, oh, well, our problem is white supremacy. Well, what the fuck does that even mean? Now, those people who never heard of Charlamagne, don't know anything about what we be talking about, says, oh, well, they think they're victims because they're like white supremacy. What are we supposed to do with that? What do you tell a white person? Any of you who's black right now, if you feel white supremacy is a problem, what do you tell a white person to do about it? What can they do to destroy white supremacy? What does that actually mean? It is not definable. You can't lay it out. It's not tangible. You can't put it on paper. You can't give people any steps what they need to take to destroy it. But this is what everybody said. They said, oh, well, what did Colin Kaepernick say when he took a knee? Oppression and systemic racism and whatever the hell else. Where is Colin Kaepernick, by the way? Anybody heard from Colin Kaepernick? This is just a side note. I don't know. I'm not even finished my second point. The whole point of everything I'm saying here in point number 2, every time something happens, you have these people coming out and saying these things that make their followers, Jamel Hill's followers, Charlamagne's followers, LeBron James' followers, they have a lot of followers who are waiting for them to say something so that they know what they should think, how they should feel, how they should act, what their opinions are going to be. Now, I'm not saying that's y'all. Most of you are probably intelligent enough to form your own opinions, but let's keep it real. A lot of people in this world don't think. They wait for somebody who they like, somebody who's famous, to tell them what their opinion should be. So when LeBron comes out and says, man, Remember when they allegedly spray painted something on his house, and he came out, and it was right before the NBA Finals, right? They spray painted something on his house, and he did the press conference before the finals, and he mentioned Emmett Till. Emmett Till got murdered. LeBron James, allegedly, they sprayed the N-word on your house. Like, Emmett Till got murdered, and you're comparing yourself to him? Are you serious? And this is the problem that I have with it, because LeBron is such a prominent guy. He has reached such a high status of power. For him to go and claim and play the victim card when he has all of these kids, millions of kids looking up to him to hear what he's going to say about a situation that affects people of color, he could have easily said, you know what, it's fucked up that somebody wrote the N-word on my house, but you know what, fuck that, I don't let words stop me, we keep moving forward, I'm not going to let what somebody says bring me down, I'm a powerful individual, words are not going to stop me, do you see what I've achieved in my life and the circumstances I come from? Anybody who's listening to me right now, you kids wearing my $100 sneakers, don't worry about what somebody says about you, worry about what you do and control your own life, because that's how we get power. He could have said that. How many people he have empowered by saying that? But what did he say? He said, man, I just think of Emmett Till when his mom put his body on display after he got murdered by those racist white men. Man, no matter how successful you become in life, they always look at you as a nigga. That's what he said. And now what impression is that giving to some 12-year-old kid in the hood who thinks he could become the next LeBron? What kind of empowerment did LeBron give to that kid? What kind of message is he giving to the people who are looking at LeBron, waiting for him to say something? All these people out here, all these people who work for ESPN. I heard Steven Jackson say it, Jay Williams, a whole bunch of black people on ESPN who just want to be cool with each other, said, oh, Michael Jordan's the best player, but LeBron's the best athlete, or LeBron is the GOAT because he speaks out on social issues. Yeah, he speaks out, but what the fuck is he speaking about? Is he saying anything intelligent? Is he saying something that makes sense? If you really think about what he's saying, is he helping you move forward? Is he giving you something to help you advance? Or is he giving you something to make you feel like you're in a position to be in fear, or you're going to be a victim of something that some white person does? And this dude knows that he didn't get to where he's at by thinking that way. So, but he talks like that. And this is the part that fucks me up. Like, how did you get to be so successful, but every time you talk, you are letting young black people know that we're victims? You didn't become successful by being a victim, LeBron. Jamel Hill, you didn't get to the top of ESPN, the top black female ESPN, by being a victim, but then all you talk about is white supremacy this and white supremacy that. Yo, did white supremacy get you a job at ESPN? Charlemagne, you came from getting fired from these radio jobs, so now you are maybe the biggest guy in black entertainment right now. You got fired from a bunch of jobs. You got blackballed from radio stations. Now you may be the biggest dude in entertainment. You like a half journalist, half author, half comedian. I know it's three halves, but you get what I'm saying. You didn't get there by being a victim, but all you talk about, you get Rush Limbaugh, one of the biggest voices in conservative media these days. He asked you flat out, what can we do to help you? And you said, well, you got to destroy the system of white supremacy. What the fuck is that? What does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. Nobody can tell me what that means. Nobody can tell me what that means. And I'm using LeBron as the biggest example simply because I'm in the basketball world and I see more of what he says than I see of Jamel or Charlemagne. But the biggest problem for me is, forget any one of them individually, is that these people are looked at as our leaders. And what a lot of you need to understand is that there are people who don't know our culture. And they are only noticing our culture right now because of what's going on. They don't know shit about, they never even heard of the Breakfast Club. They don't know what LeBron be tweeting about or Instagramming. Never even heard of Jamel Hill. But now when this is going on, and now this is a black people issue because it's a black guy that died and black people are protesting and hashtagging and all this shit. Now there are some people who know nothing about our culture who said, all right, let me see what these black people are talking about. And they're like, all right, who's the prominent people? Who's the prominent voice in this culture? Oh, Charlemagne, LeBron James, Jamel Hill. Let me see what they're saying. And they're making us look like we're a bunch of fucking victims. And it bothers the shit out of me because nobody reaches success by being a fucking victim. I just don't get it. And they didn't get successful by being victims. Now I'm repeating myself. Let me move on to point number 3. Today's topic for those who are listening to this is we are not victims. Here's why they talk like this. Because I was thinking about this. I'm trying to figure out why would they do it. Jamel, LeBron, Charlemagne, I'm just using them as examples. There are others. I don't be following nobody. You can look at my Instagram and see who I follow. I don't follow too many known people. I follow people that I actually have met in person and people that I know. Only a couple people that I don't. They tell you what you want to hear. This is the thing with Jamel, Charlemagne, LeBron. They tell you what you want to hear. Those of you who follow those people, the reason why they talk victim shit, even though they couldn't have been victims, is because they know you want to hear victim shit. They are playing to their audience. So you know when Donald Trump says some shit and people are like, he's blowing the dog whistle, he's saying some racist stuff. It's like you say Donald Trump says something that has racial undertones, racist undertones. He doesn't say it out in so many words, but you can tell that's what he's trying to say. Many people say this about Donald Trump, and I explain to people about Donald Trump. All he's doing is selling to his base. He knows who his base is. His base is not you. If you hate Donald Trump, when he says something, he's not talking to you. Now, he's talking to people who voted for him. All right, so if you didn't vote for him, stop responding to him because he's not talking to you. And when LeBron James says something, he's talking to those of you who buy his sneakers, those of you who follow him on IG, and Charlamagne's talking to people who subscribe to the Breakfast Club and watch all the interviews and listen to the shit that Charlamagne says trying to be funny. Like, they're selling to their audience. Donald Trump knows that there's a base of people who, when he says those racial undertone things, they like it. They eat it up, and that's going to get them to vote for him this November. And if he goes against Joe Biden, by the way, he's going to win. I'm not saying he should win. I'm saying he's going to win. And another note, LeBron James, Jamel Hill, Charlamagne, when they say things that are they are tainted with victimhood, even though they could not have been victims, they're saying that because they know that's what you motherfuckers want to hear. Because that's what y'all are following. Y'all following him. LeBron got 100 million followers. I don't know how many followers. Whatever it is, the majority of his followers want to hear that they're victims. Because they want something to lament, something to feel bad about. They can't be told. And let me tell you what they actually need to be told. Because what you want to hear is usually the opposite of what you need to hear. See, what you need to hear in life is when you're out there and whining like a bitch, you know what a leader's going to say to you? A leader's going to tell you, and any of you ever heard Martin Luther King, even Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, back in the 60s. I know most of us wasn't alive then. My parents was damn near barely alive when that happened. You can go look it up. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, when black people were whining and feeling sorry for themselves and putting their heads down and not taking control of their own, not taking personal accountability and personal responsibility, what did Malcolm X say? Not in so many words, but what did he say? He said, stop being a bitch, stop whining like a bitch, stand the fuck up and handle your fucking business. And I'm going to tell you how to do it. That's what Malcolm X said. He didn't just leave you all hanging like, handle your business. Well, how? No, he told you how to handle it. He told you exactly what to do. You need to do this, then this, then we're going to do this. Martin Luther King, when he got assassinated, after the whole I have a dream and integration, the next step Martin Luther King was on was, all right, we need to get our fucking money right so that we can stop looking at the government and the white man and asking them to give us handouts. We need to get our money right so we can control our own shit. That was what Martin Luther King was talking about when he got assassinated. Malcolm X was always on that. That's why Martin and Malcolm kind of clashed, because Malcolm was like, yo, why the fuck is you trying to integrate when these the ones who be keeping us down? And Martin said, no, we got to integrate. But either way, they both had the same concept. They just went about it a little bit differently. But the bottom line was, stop whining like a bitch, stop acting like a victim, and handle your fucking business. Now, LeBron James won't tell you that. Jamel Hill won't tell you that. Charlamagne won't tell you that. But I guarantee you something. Each one of them have been in several points in their lives where they had to look in the mirror and say it to themselves. The reason they won't say it to you is because y'all don't want to hear that shit. Because if they told you that too much, y'all would stop listening. Because that requires you to take some personal accountability. It requires you to take some personal responsibility. It requires you to have some tough conversations with yourself. And most people don't want to do those things. That's just absolute fucking facts. You want people to coddle you, give you more reason to feel like a victim? Or there are plenty of black leaders, quote unquote leaders, who will give you plenty of reasons every fucking day. Every time Donald Trump says something, you got plenty of black leaders giving you more reason. Oh, look what Donald Trump said. Damn, we're victims of Donald Trump. Oh, look at this white person. Damn, we're victims of white supremacy. Colin Kaepernick took a knee. We're victims of systemic oppression. No wonder that we can't do anything in life. Y'all understand that this man was one of the 30 quarterbacks in the NFL. There's only 30 quarterbacks. The quarterback's the most important position in all of professional sports. This man was one of 30 people who had the job, starting job, gave it up, and then he was a victim. How the fuck you get the job? Did you get the job by being a victim? LeBron, how you become the best player in the world? By being a victim? Jamel, you got to the top of ESPN as far as black women. By being a victim? Charlamagne, biggest name in media. By being a victim? But then they tell y'all that y'all victims. Can somebody explain that to me? Can somebody help me make sense of that? I don't quite understand it. Point number 4. Now I'm going to tell you how to fix this. Now that I've laid it out, I'm never going to leave you hanging with just telling you what's wrong or what the problem is and not telling you how to fix it. The topic here today is we are not victims. And this is for anybody. You don't have to be black. This is for everybody. How do you not be a victim in life? First of all, you got to think strategically and act strategically instead of emotionally. Emotions cloud judgment. Emotions cloud judgment. I'm not telling you not to be emotional because that's impossible. Human beings all have emotion. We can't be robots. But what I mean when I say be strategic instead of emotion, you got to own your situations, even when it's not your fault. If you're in a situation in life that is not your fault, you still got to own it. If somebody does something that makes you feel not that great about yourself and they're at blame, own it. Don't be a bitch about it. Don't complain about it. Y'all remember when LeBron left Cleveland the first time on TV, and then the owner wrote that article, that letter in Comic Sans? But that was before social media blew up, right? That was the summer of 2010. What LeBron say when that letter came out? When Dan Gilbert wrote that letter, and some people said, man, he sounded like a runaway slave owner, or he sounded like a jilted girlfriend. What did LeBron say when that dude wrote that letter, trashing LeBron the night that he said, I'm taking my talents to South Beach? You know what LeBron said? He didn't say shit. He didn't say anything. He never trashed Dan Gilbert. He didn't get on social media. He didn't make a big news story about it. All he did was pack his shit up, take his talents to South Beach, and play ball. That's all he did. He never even talked about it. He didn't mention that letter again until he went back to Cleveland 4 years later. Now, why is that? Here's the question. Why did he not make himself a victim then? Because there wasn't no social media. Well, I mean, it was, but it wasn't. Social media wasn't like that then. Remember, we was watching that on TV. ESPN. I mean, got a TV now. Back then, he didn't have a crowd to pander to when it came to victimhood, so he couldn't play victim because nobody played victim too. Instagram wasn't Instagram. Twitter wasn't Twitter. Hashtags wasn't hashtags, so he didn't play victim, even though he very well could have. If there's one situation since LeBron been a pro where he could have acted like a victim, it was that. What did he do? He didn't play victim. He just let it. He kept working, and he went and did his thing, won some more MVPs, won some more championships, kept moving. Own your situation. If you want to not be a victim in life, own your situation. If you are alive to talk about the situation, that means you have some option to take control of the situation. Stop being a bitch. Stop letting whoever, if the president says something that you don't like, what the fuck, what impact does that have on your life? Really? How is that stopping you from taking care of your business? How is it stopping you from going to the gym? How is it stopping you from running your business? How is it stopping you from reading a book? How is it stopping you from doing what you need to do to take care of yourself and your family? It's not. But you decide to pay attention to it so you can have a reason to feel like you're a victim of some system or some white supremacy or some oppression or whatever bullshit some famous black person told you because they can run a football or shoot a basketball that all of a sudden they became leaders, or because they're funny, or because they work on a sports network, because they got a radio show, that then they become qualified to be a leader. I want to let all the white people who are listening to this right now know, those people do not represent us. LeBron James does not speak for black people. I think he's a great basketball player. He does not speak for black people. Jamel Hill does not speak for black people. Charlemagne does not speak for black people. They do not represent us. So even though they're known, even though they're good at what they do, they do not represent the opinions of the whole. All right, they represent themselves, and there are a whole bunch of followers who will co-sign them because they don't have any independent thoughts, but they don't represent us. All right, so please do not think when you see Charlemagne trending that whatever he said is the black word. All right, he's not the guy. Now, he is not that guy. He's a good guy. He is talented. He is skilled at his job, but he does not speak for us. LeBron James, great at his job. I think we all can agree with that. His job ain't speaking for black people. Jamel Hill, great at her. I don't even know what is her job. I don't even know what she does. She's a podcaster. She's an author, a cultural critic. Okay. Anybody can be a critic, can say whatever they want. So being a critic, she's great. She has some critique. She has opinions. Everybody's allowed to have one. She does not speak for black people. She is not the voice of black people. I want to make sure I'm being very clear on that. I remember years ago, right? This is back when I was posting basketball videos every day on YouTube. And Derrick Rose had tore his knee. You remember when Derrick Rose tore his ACL? He won the MVP. Then the next year, then the Heat kicked their ass in the conference finals. Then the next year, he was good again, and the Bulls were the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And it looked like the Bulls and the Heat were going to face each other again. Derrick Rose tore his ACL the first game in the playoffs. And when that happened, a bunch of ball players started hitting me up on email, and they were asking me a question. They were saying, Dre, I want to play ball, and I want to, be athletic and explosive like Derrick Rose. But the thing is, Dre, I don't want to tear my ACL like Derrick Rose tore his ACL, or I don't want to get injured like name somebody who got injured. I don't want to get injured playing ball. Dre, what am I supposed to do? How can I make sure that I don't get injured playing basketball? And I said to them, first of all, if you're going to step on the court, you run the risk of getting injured. An injury is an accident. All right, Derrick Rose wasn't trying to get injured. It just happened. All right, there's nothing he did wrong. He just got injured. It's just the way that it works. And in life, if you play the game of life, there's a chance maybe an accident will happen. There's a chance maybe something will happen that wasn't supposed to happen that doesn't work in your favor. But as long as you're allowed to talk about it, you could do something about it. And the second thing I said to those players was, first of all, you ain't Derrick Rose. All right, so just because Derrick Rose got injured playing basketball, what about the millions of other people who play basketball every day who don't get injured? Or you think just because one guy got injured playing ball, just because he's on TV and he's famous, you think it's going to happen to you? Well, listen, LeBron James said, well, they're targeting us every day we come outside. LeBron, you're 35 years old, 35 times 365 days. You came outside a lot of days, and if they're targeting you, you'd be dead already. So how they targeting us every day? I'm 38 years, I'm older than LeBron, 365 days. Y'all see my story, right? Don't I come outside every day? I go outside every fucking day. If they're targeting me every day, I'm 6'4", I can't hide out this bitch. If they're targeting me every day, I'd already been dead. So how is it that we getting targeted every day? Now, I know he was being hyperbolic, but the problem is there's a lot of people who don't think, and they hear that, and they're like, damn, he right. They targeting us everywhere we go. And now they have this energy for the cops when the cops in Pittsburgh didn't do nothing to you. The cops in LA didn't do shit to you. The cops in New York didn't do nothing to you. The cops in Miami didn't do nothing. They didn't kill nobody. And even if one cop did, what that got to do with the other 3,000 cops on the force? Now you got negative energy for the cops. The cops didn't do nothing to you. It was one cop or 4 cops in Minnesota that did the wrong thing. Or any other situation, it was certain cops that did the wrong thing. But we got to make sure we're being specific about who did the wrong thing. We're not going to blanket over everybody just because one person out of the group did the wrong thing. Listen, if one black person does something dumb to a white person, I don't want to be the one who I don't want to carry the weight for that dumb black person. I say, no, don't get mad at me just because I'm black. No, you get mad at the motherfucker who did it. I didn't do it. You get mad at the person who did the wrong thing. If somebody steals money from you and they're white, are you going to go beat up the next white person you see because a white person stole money from you? Or are you going to go find the motherfucker who did it and deal with them? So we're not going to make it, let's have negative energy for the cops, or let's have negative energy for this or that just because this one person out of the group did something. We got to make sure we are identifying who did what and making sure people own their shit. The same way you got to own your shit in a positive way, you got to own the shit in the negative. We're not going to blanket everybody. We're not mad at white people. We're not mad at the cops. We targeted one cop who happened to be white, who did the wrong thing. He got to go to court, and we're going to see what happens in court. That's all we can say. That's the game. Now, it's 3 other cops. They got to face something too. Once all the information comes out, we're going to talk about that too. But they got to go to court. They get to speak their piece. They get to have a lawyer. They get judged by a jury of their peers. This is the rule in America, and we're going to see what happens. That's all we can do right now. But this whole victim shit, all right, we ain't victims. All right, demonizing people because they didn't, quote unquote, speak out. There's a lot of white people following me on social media, and a lot of them wrote me back from the email that I sent out on Monday morning. A lot of white people wrote me back telling me, thank you for saying what you said. There are people who said to me, Dre, I felt like I was wrong because I didn't say anything. And I'm like, yo, first of all, y'all know what I said on my post on Facebook on Sunday. The other thing is this, we're not demonizing people for not speaking out. We're not demonizing cops. That's not strategy. That's emotion. It looks good and it feels good, but it won't be good for us in the long run. All right, instead of hanging our heads metaphorically and saying, oh, it's going to happen to me because it happened to him. I'm going to tear my knee because Derrick Rose tore his knee. I'm going to get killed because this guy got killed. No, how about instead we ask ourselves, what can we do to help the greater good to make sure this happens to fewer people? And the only way we can do that is by each one of you individually empowering yourself. Stop being a fucking victim. Stop being a bitch. Stop letting these quote-unquote leaders tell you how to think and start thinking for your fucking self. LeBron didn't go to college anyway. Shout out to LeBron James. I think he's a great basketball player, but he's out of his depth when he's talking about this stuff. That's my opinion. And I know some of y'all ain't going to agree with it because you have been indoctrinated in the University of LeBron, and it's all good. I think LeBron's a great player. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm going to recap these points, and I'm going to take questions. You got a question or a comment, go ahead and post it, and we're going to address all that shit. The topic here today is we are not victims. I'm going to go through these points really quick. Number 1, power does not accrue to victims. Power is the ability to do something or act in a particular way. A victim is a person harmed or injured as a result of a crime, accident, or other event. If everything in your life is a result of an event that you don't control, you are not powerful, you are a victim. Number 2, our leaders. As black folks, they are not leaders because they couldn't have become successful by being victims, but they always talk about being victims, which is very incongruent. It makes no sense. I couldn't figure out why. As I thought about it more today, I figured out why it is because they are telling you what you want to hear. The same way Donald Trump says shit that people think is kind of has racist undertones because he's telling his base what his base wants to hear. LeBron James is telling his base what they want to hear. His base wants to be victims, so he tells them why they're victims. Donald Trump's base wants to hear some shit that might sound racist, so he tells them some shit that might sound racist. He is selling the same way LeBron James is selling. LeBron James just as much as a salesperson as Donald Trump. You might not see it that way, but if you think about it, and I'm going to challenge you to think, you will see that it's absolutely true. Point number 4, how to never be a victim. Think strategically instead of emotionally. We just give you 1 point, that's it. Think strategically instead of emotionally. Emotional is off the cuff. Whatever happens, you just immediately react to it. Whatever everybody else is doing, you get caught up in it. You start throwing stuff out there, feel like a victim just because something happens. Just because Derrick Rose tore his ACL, you scared to play basketball because you might tear your ACL. Makes no sense because a million other people play ball the same day. None of them tore their ACL, but you think you're going to be the one. Listen, stop being a bitch. All right, I'll tell y'all straight up. And any of y'all who never heard of me before, this is your first time listening to me, welcome. Now I'm going to take questions. If anybody got a question, go ahead and post it. These 2 books, mirrormotivation.com, balloverseas.com. But I want to answer questions. I ain't even going to talk about these that much here today. Whoever got a question, comment, go ahead and post it. We're going to make sure we can get to these. We got like maybe 10 minutes. Ian is different. What's good? You had the first comment. Damien96R. Ronnie Ray, what's going on? MVKE2, what's up? JP Elite, what's good? AV said, you're a strong, beautiful person. We're all struggling right now. Remember, you are loved. All right, thank you for the positive comment. He said that for everybody, so that's for everybody. JN said, you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself because you're out of luck if you do, because nobody's going to feel bad for you. That's right. Well, some people will feel bad for you. I mean, we've seen it this past weekend. A lot of people did feel bad, but only because a lot of people, I think, were shamed into joining the cause by posting something on Instagram, if you want to call that a cause. The introspective, expound on your point. If you disagree with me, say why, and give some real reasons why. Don't just say you disagree. Michael Aaron was good. JN said, those people you heard need to hear you. Yeah, I know they do. I would tell them to their face if I knew them, but I don't think they would put that out there. And Nick XVE, what's good? Supreme J, what's up? Brandon Joseph said the LeBron stuff's making you weak. Well, I mean, if I said anything that was incorrect, somebody could let me know. JN said you hit it nail on the head. Dependent thinkers wait for famous people to speak out and then say something off the wall. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens. And then people copy it because that person is so famous that people think, well, they're successful, so they must know what they're talking about. Unfortunate, but this is just the way the world works. If you think Donald Trump has people think Donald Trump has a base of people who are not very smart, who just wait for Donald Trump to say something and they follow it. Well, LeBron got the same base. All right? Donald Trump's base is a bunch of white people. LeBron's base is a bunch of black people. All right? Ain't no different. Only difference is the color. JN0111 said they make empty statements and their followers react off it. Yeah, Donald Trump's and LeBron's. Ain't no different. It's the exact same. Everything you say about Trump, you can say about Trump and his audience. You can say about LeBron and his audience. Not everybody in the audience, but a good percentage of the people in the audience. Not everybody, because listen, I think LeBron's a great player, but I don't wait for LeBron to tell me what my opinion should be. That's crazy. LeBron's a basketball player. He's not a professional thinker, in my opinion. Andy 91282. Mihailovich said they live off the weak and stupid consumers. Well, a lot of consumers are stupid. That's the thing. That's the reason why they're so known. It's the reason why I can use their names and you know who I'm talking about. Keegan Foley, what's good? Ryan Towiso, what's going on? Mihailovich. J. Semper was good. I Manor. Guy Haith Kingsley said, in conclusion, keep your head down. Work hard. Let the world talk. Unless it involves you personally. Yeah, I mean, you can say something if you want to say something. I mean, this whole situation didn't personally affect me directly, but I wanted to speak on it because I feel like people are being misled by people who are unqualified to be speaking. But because they're famous, they get the qualification built in. Mihailovich says, problem is they're entertainers, not social experts or philosophers. I believe that's one of the problems. You are correct. But there are people who are entertainers who actually have intelligent things to say. Listen, Michael Jordan never said nothing about politics. I'd rather somebody be like Jordan and keep it real and say, look, I don't follow politics because I'm focused on my craft, and not say anything than somebody like LeBron come out and mislead people with some bullshit. I'd rather somebody be like Jordan. In my opinion, people criticize Jordan because he didn't say nothing. Then you got people, I ain't going to use certain terms here, but people like Jay Williams, I don't know what Jalen Rose had to say, Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, a lot of people on social media saying, oh, LeBron is better than Jordan because he speaks out. Well, he's speaking out and he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So that doesn't make him better. That just means he's talking. Just because you're talking doesn't mean you're smart. Coach Kev, what's good? JN says, getting hurt is part of it. Your ass can't get hurt walking down the street. That's right. Well, technically you could, but I get what you're saying. You can get hurt doing anything. Yeah. Or did you say you can? Yeah. I mean, you get hurt doing anything. So if people are afraid of something happening to them, well something's going to happen to you no matter what you do. That's the way life works. Coach Kev says, I was literally sitting here thinking that since I didn't make a blackout post, I felt people will look at me as being anti-black. Yeah. You know what? I posted the blackout thing today because I said it's not going to hurt me to post it. And if this is what people want to do to at least show that we're all in this together and it makes people feel good, fine. I'll post the blackout post, all good, but I'm still going to do this live and say what the fuck I want to say. So it didn't hurt me to post it, but I wouldn't feel bad if I didn't post it. If somebody had a problem with it, well, fuck them. I'd say I could do whatever the fuck I want to do. If I don't want to do something, then I'm not going to do it. But I don't think you're wrong for not posting. Anybody here who didn't post a blackout post, that doesn't make you less black. That doesn't mean you're down you're not down. It doesn't mean you're racist. It doesn't mean you think the cop was right. It doesn't mean any of that. Like, posting something on Instagram does not prove anything. It makes people feel good and it looks good, but does it actually produce a result? No, it does not. It feels good and it looks good. That's all it does. That's what Instagram is, right? Isn't that what Instagram is about? Posting stuff to look good? That's the whole point of the platform. That's exactly what it's for. H Hot Dollar, what's good? Appreciate you. Your boy Ali, man, you missed the whole thing. You got to come back. Emanuel says, you can watch the replay. Emanuel says, in Silicon Valley, Asians major in STEM-related majors. Most of my Hispanic people major in silly majors like Mexican-American studies and psychology. Why is that? Well, those aren't silly. It just depends on what you do with it. It's not what you major in, it's what you do with the major. I majored in business, and I had 50 other people with me who majored in business. Some of them run businesses today, and some of them don't. So it ain't what you major in, it's what you do after the major. So it depends on what you're trying to do with your life. David AZ over on Facebook says, a lot of puppetry going on, who's pulling the strings? Well, I just explained it. The famous people are pulling the strings. And they are what's the word? They're pandering to their audience. The same way Donald Trump panders to his audience of, some of you may think, racist white people. LeBron James panders to his audience. Charlamagne panders to his audience. Jamel Hill panders to her audience. The only difference is they're black and he's white. But they are all doing the exact same thing. A7 basketball was good. Amanda said other races don't really major in STEM-related fields either. I don't know about that. I wouldn't go as far to say that unless I had some actual data. I don't know if you have data, but either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, what does it matter what other people major in? Just major in what you're going to major in. A7, appreciate you. I create said he still has a voice and should use it. Who you referring to? Who's he? Who you talking about? Supreme J says, what do you think is Sean King's role on Instagram for black people? Is Sean King even black? What I read is Sean King actually has 2 white parents, and that he posted that he never identified as white. That was his actual statement. I've never identified as white. He didn't say I'm not white. He didn't say I'm black. He said I've never identified as white. That's what I saw him say, as it was quoted that he said that. So, is Sean King even black? I don't know. I'm not sure Sean King is even black. So, what is his role for black people? He ain't got no fucking role. Now, he got a role for some black people who don't know no better, and they just need somebody. Again, Sean King is articulate, and Charlamagne is articulate, and because they're articulate, they sound smart. When someone's articulate, it seems like they're smart even when they're saying something stupid. So Charlamagne could say something dumb, but because he's articulate, it sounds like he's saying something smart. Sean King, the exact same thing. There are a bunch of others, and there's some people who are articulate and they say things that actually make sense. So it requires a high level of judgment, discernment. I talked about that on the show. So what is Sean King's role? He ain't got, again, the answer, he ain't got no role. Is he even black? That's my question about Sean King. Is he black? Is either one of his parents black? I don't know. And the last I heard, he would not answer the question. That's the last I heard about Sean King. So if you got some different information, you let me know. At least Colin Kaepernick, at least we know one of his parents is black. And we ain't even going to get into that. All right. JN says, I'm not trying to be funny, but folks real life ignoring this coronavirus shit is still getting spread. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, after all these gatherings, it should be a whole bunch of people getting corona in the next couple of weeks. But if nobody gets it, who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Mozart Gates was good. Your boy Ali says, you think it's hypocritical for Black Lives Matter to focus on police brutality than gun violence in inner cities that they rarely speak on? Do I think it's hypocritical? I think it's not that it's hypocritical, it's just that they are picking and choosing the facts. And everybody does that. They're picking and choosing information. So when a black person gets killed by a white cop, it becomes a story. But when a black person gets killed by a black person, nobody talks about it, even though it's happening. I don't think it's hypocritical. I don't think they're purposely ignoring it. I just think it gets more attention when it's a white person who's a cop kills a black person, because now you got white people got to pay attention. If it's just black people killing black people, white people can ignore it because it ain't their business. But if a white person's involved, now you can get white people to pay attention. And we only, 13% of the population. So you get the rest of the population to have to pay attention, like this case here, then you're going to take advantage of that. We just call it opportunism. That's all that is. It's not hypocritical. It's not being hypocrite. It's just being opportunistic. A-Easy says, I feel as though black people should get in more positions of power. We got 2 minutes left. Politicians, lawyers, judges, head of chief etc. Then things are leading the other way. I think that is part of the process as well. A-Easy, I believe you. So, all right, so look, you go first. You got to be the one who steps up. You get one of those positions, then you pull other people up with you. Coach Kev says, everyone's first looking out for themselves. LeBron and all of them are no different. People need to start believing everything they hear and start thinking for themselves. That's true. But shit, we've had that problem forever. And it's going to keep existing. It's not going to go away. Any of y'all think that's going away? It's not going away. People will never all think for themselves. You just got to choose to do so for yourself. You personally. I Create Reality says, where do you stand with all the chaos? Do you feel protest is justified? Listen to my podcast I put out on Monday, yesterday. Work on Your Game podcast is on all platforms. That episode I put out free for everybody. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, it's called Work on Your Game. Go see the last episode. It says special George Floyd and everything else that I said. Look it up. It's 2 hours long, and I explained everything that I feel about that. Damien says, I got 1 minute left before this cuts off, y'all. What do you think about Goggins' post? He said, only white people can help. He's a guy I respect along with you. I don't follow Goggins. He's kind of a rah-rah motivational guy, not my kind of stuff. But if that's how he feels, he has a right to his opinion. I do not agree. But if that's his opinion, he has a right to it. But I don't follow him, so I don't know everything else that he said. I don't know the context. So hopefully the businesses got looted, have insurance. Yeah, they got to have insurance. How long do I think the protests will last? Probably for maybe a couple more days, maybe in big cities. It went away in Miami, but in other cities it's still going. But if these cops don't get charged, or the charges get dropped, or these cops don't get convicted, oh, y'all ain't seen shit. If these cops don't get convicted, y'all thought last weekend was crazy? Wait till the weekend after that. Trust me. All right. Really good deciphering underlying intense people. Asking a lot of people can't do that. Good to see someone on the platform. I appreciate that. Everybody about to cut me off. Have a great day. Work on your game. We out.